This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, everybody. This is Greg Morton. It is Sunday, October 24th, 2021, and this is the weekend Canslim growth stock update for the Greenville Eastside IBD meetup group, as well as the Stockyard meetup group. As always, this weekend reviews for educational purposes only. I'm not recommending any stocks or securities to buy or sell. All investing has substantial risk of big losses. Learn first and only then invest. And of course, Canslim is a registered trademark of Investors Business Daily. And if you don't want the fine print version, you can use the visual version, which is you are driving your own portfolio. You and you alone are responsible for your mistakes. So you need to have a set of written buy and sell rules. You need to follow those, and then you need to do post analysis to determine when to tweak those rules down the road. So this weekend, we'll look at the M factor, market review, and market direction and where we are. Talk about what happens now, glance at a few charts, and then talk about our upcoming meeting in November and our last couple of meetings. So we always start with the M factor. This is the most important letter in Canslim. When the M is wrong, nothing else is going to be right. So per O'Neill and IBD, we want to diagnose, interpret, don't predict. And we look at three things: the action of leading stocks, the actions of stocks owned, and actually we've moved further in. It's about 65% invested now, I think. So we'll look at that in the group teaching portfolio, market pulse, distribution day count, price, and volume on the indexes. So let's exit out of here. Oops. And switch over to MarketSmith real quick. So here's the NASDAQ. Here's our follow through day right there. Was back above the 21 and just under the 50 when that happened. Now you can see that the moving average lines have all turned up. 10, 21, 50. The 10 and 21 are trying to get back above the 50. The main thing is the low of each day is holding above the 21-day moving average line, as well as the 50-day moving average line, at least for the last 4 days. So we had a day 8 follow through day on the NASDAQ, was up 1.7%. And of course, we're in a confirmed uptrend, and IBD is back to green, which you can see at the bottom of the page. So this is looking much better compared to where we were when we were down here stuck under the declining moving average lines. So that's looking constructive. Go to the S&P 500. Very similar, even putting in some all-time closing highs. 10 and 21 are coming back above the 50, are pointed in the correct direction, and it looks like the index, like the NASDAQ, maybe can trend above an uptrending 21-day moving average line. NYSE, again, all-time closing highs this week. Moving average lines getting back in the correct order, so that looks good. Dow, some all-time closing highs this week, sort of the same thing. Small caps, the Russell, again, had this tight consolidation right here as all the moving average lines converged. Now we have the 10 and 21 moving back up and the index moving back up, but not at all-time highs. And then the S&P 600, yep, kind of looking similar, moving averages lines back in the correct order. So that's looking a lot better. And if we look at the Excel spreadsheet on the coloring book, so here's our follow through day on the NASDAQ on Thursday the 14th, if I remember correctly. And then the Dow had its first follow through day the next day, Friday the 15th, which was weaker. So we did have a distribution day this week on Thursday. Current distribution day count is in black. The old distribution day count, which IBD doesn't track, is shown in white. And of course, the white ones will go away once we get at least 25 days into a new uptrend. So buying, selling days, we have 8 buying days, 9 selling days. So sort of have a tug of war there. Since the follow through day, you can look at the breakouts: Upstart, JB Hunt, Dutch Brothers, Enphase, Ford, which doesn't seem like a growth stock, but it actually has some growth stock numbers now. And then Tesla pulled some of these other ones. So those are in there, and we can sort of track those and see how they do. Market school exposures back up to at least 4, which I think is 75%. I'll have to look, double check that. And window of opportunities open. All the indexes are MMTS green. So we just are looking for that further progress to continue. Go back to the presentation. So there was our follow through day, 1.76%, above 1.25%, not like the 7% follow through day that we had coming out of the COVID bear market, but still pretty decent. And then on Friday, the Dow was up 1.09% if one's willing to use a lower threshold. And then on that Thursday, when we had the follow through day, all the MMTS except the NASDAQ also went to green, and NASDAQ was yellow, and then it went to green the next day, and the window of opportunity opened up on that NASDAQ follow through day, and IBD went back to confirmed uptrend. So currently that turned on the green traffic light as well as the go button. I had to find a go button without an exclamation mark because we do want to wade in slowly. So just my observations, we've had nice constructive action on the indexes since the follow through day, had slower opens, stronger finishes or closes. So that's good. That's a hallmark of a strong market as opposed to a gap up or a strong open with a weak finish. We'd avoided any distribution days until this past Friday when things sort of snapped. And the markets don't go straight up anyway. So that doesn't surprise us. So we talked about the rally day and follow through day system in great detail at our last meeting. I reminded everybody not all follow through days work, but these are a cornerstone of Canslim system. These are almost as important as keeping your losses short. So they are not miss events. It's better to be in and get a toe hold and get knocked out quickly if they fail than to just miss one and not get that toe hold in what turns out to be a tradable rally. It's just important to get that both not just fiscally, but also mentally. So last weekend, here's some things I mentioned in the slide. A week ago, I said, hey, we're watching. Can the indexes, particularly the NASDAQ, retake and put the 50-day in the rearview mirror? So right now, the answer to that is yes. Can the NASDAQ trend above an uptrending 21-day moving exponential moving average line? So far, it looks like it's being able to do that. Can the NASDAQ low stay above the 21-day? Yes, it's doing that. Can the follow-through day or can the indexes really not undercut the low of the follow-through day? Yes, we've avoided that problem. And then when we're looking at stocks, can the leaders continue to lead? Yes, I mean, we have Snap that got whacked on poor earnings news, so they're not all going to continue to lead. But, we had a narrow group of leaders and we seem to be getting some more. If you look at IBD 50 this weekend, there's a lot of extended stocks, which is good. It means they're making progress. Even if they're not actionable, that's a signal that we look for. So we can we find strong Canslim stocks setting up and breaking out a full and proper early stage basis? We are seeing some setups and some constructive action. It's important to remember that the best merchandise comes out earliest after the follow through day. So there's this 4 to 6 to 10 week window, which will be a target rich environment if this follow through day in fact does work and continue to do well. How does the market handle earnings seasons? That's really going to ramp up this week. And then how's it handle the Fed meeting the beginning of November, and which I think is November 2nd and 3rd, right after Halloween. So it's trick or treat at Jerome Powell's house. So my current M factor interpretation, not predicting, just where we were as of Friday's close. Green traffic light still, go buttons lit up, and general acceleration continue if new positions are working and making progress. If new positions are not making progress, either something's wrong with the market or something's wrong with what you're doing, and you got to stop and figure it out. So we want to increase exposure as the initial positions work, as well as look for add-on opportunities or build in a full position in things that we might already own. And most of all, we don't want to plunge back in. Plungers die, so we want to be careful. So in the weeks ahead, we got a massive EPS coming. So I just kind of think of it's going to be a monster mash, maybe good and fun, or it may be bad. And IBD had it this way in one of their ads, trick or trade. I think that's a pretty good description of where we are and what we're going to see this week with earnings. So hopefully it will be the trade. Things that are coming up, EPS season's getting ready to ramp up big time. This week we have Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, AMD, Ford, Google, Facebook, InMode, and a whole bunch more. So the earnings season is often a catalyst to move the market either up or down. So we will see which way this week goes. We have Delta COVID, as well as now this Delta COVID plus story starting, news out of England. So we'll see how that does. Chinese government, just major risk in the China stock still, in my opinion, and not even looking at any of those. There's just no way to assess this government risk. We're shutting down all Bitcoin miners, or we're, canceling the Ant Financial IPO. It kind of started with all of that several months ago, and Jack Mao getting out of line with the government. You got the Evergrande default / collapse issue. Seems like that's dam's going to break, but we'll just see. November 2nd and 3rd is the next Fed meeting. U.S. infrastructure bill, of course, that got kicked down the road a month ago, and Pelosi has promised to vote by the end of this month. So not much time on that one. Government shutdown and debt ceiling, that got moved to December 3rd timeframe. So happy Thanksgiving from our government to all of us. So we'll see what's happening with that. We have supply chain issues still. Got that ship parking lot off of California. I've seen this personally. I've got to get a new computer, so I called my IT guy that we use at the office and was going to order one from Dell. In the past, that took maybe 3 to 4 days to get it built and shipped. It's the end of November currently, so 5 or 6 weeks for Dell to even get a computer. So if you're getting computers for Christmas, better go ahead and order them. And then the supply chain issues is going to be involved in the upcoming earnings seasons. So a couple of charts. Oops. Let's flip back to Market Smith. Oh, and I'm sorry, we flip back to the group teaching portfolio. I forgot to pull this up earlier. So here's the dashboard. Yeah, so we're about 65% invested. So right before the follow through day, it was under 10. Then the day before the follow through day, I think took a pilot in Upstart, and then started moving in more heavily on the follow through day. And I've had to use some ETFs to do that because there hasn't been a slew of breakouts. There's been some breakouts, and then trying to add to existing positions such as Dexcom, which will have earnings this week also, and we'll look at the chart of it in a minute. So that's where we were on the group teaching portfolio. And then I just threw some random charts in here. So this is the, oh no, I got that one wrong, sorry. That was supposed to be, say, IGV. Yeah, I wanted the software ETF. So you can see it actually set up a base, even though, we can kind of buy ETFs coming off moving average lines, I think. So that one's doing well, maybe a place to get some exposure. We have that in the group teaching portfolio. Let's see. Yeah, I left some in here. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I had a different list and I didn't enter it. So some that are coming up, Dexcom has earnings this week. So if we go to a weekly chart, it's actually, I think, yep, set up a new flat base, only 10% deep. So that may be a potential viable gap up or additional add in the group teaching portfolio. And we'll have to look, let's look at the details on Dexcom. So going into earnings, the current cushions and what we still have, those are fine to hold. These, got 20% cushion overall. Yeah, we'll see how it does this week. That one that's only up 3%, may have to cut that before earnings and buy it back, but we can wait. I think it's after the close on Thursday. Hold on, it should be here. Yep, 28th after market close per the PR. And we have these ETFs, so we don't have to worry about earnings seasons on those. A couple other ones I was going to look at, IPOs, Dutch Brothers, profitable IPO, Canslim sales, triple digit earnings in the last quarter. So it broke out. Look at the daily. So it is doing well. And then OLPX, Olaplex. This is another one. If we look at the weekly chart, we have super strong triple digit earnings and sales. So it gets 4 green dots. It also set up an IPO base right there. Is only 14% deep. So that's very constructive, 11 days long. So it came out of there with volume coming back in. And this is nice. Notice how the volume bars track the pattern coming down the left side. Volume dries up at the bottom, picks up as we come up the right side. So any Canslim base, that's constructive when we actually see the pattern in the volume bars, when it sort of traces the cup, the base, if you will, or flat base, whatever it is, as it comes down to the bottom. So that one's looking strong too. And then we have earnings this week, a couple that I mentioned, AMD. So that one currently set up, still sort of within the buy zone of that double bottom base. Board reports this week, kind of the EV trend. So it's set up stage 4 base. Although that we normally don't count bases under $10 in Canslim. So this would actually be a second stage base under that rule. And daily chart, you can see it with some volume coming in. So we'll see what it does on earnings. Again, I would treat that one as a stage 2 cup, as this base was under $10 price. So let's go back here. So our monthly meetings, so in October, we covered the second half of a complete weekend routine, or the last 25% of that. Spent some time talking about within Canslim, what are the aces and face cards? What are the most important fundamentals and technical aspects of a chart, and how we compare one Canslim stock to another one to determine which one's the best of the best. And then we went through the rally day and follow through day system A to Z, talked about what's a rally day, what's a follow through day, what's a failure, what do we do on a follow through day, can one buy before a follow through day. And Steve Sweats was kind enough to show up and walk through the rule set he's developed for potential early entries between a rally day and the follow-through day, and that was sort of for advanced Canslim investors. And then we also talked about subsequent signs of strength of a follow-through day, which is really not in Bill's books. We walked through some things from IBD Live that they shared. And then I have a list of our prior meetings. So these can be ordered. The one on sell rules, which took 3 months to teach, January, February, March. If you go through that, you will have your own set of written sell rules by the time you work through that. So that's very important if you don't have those. And then again, we did a complete weekend routine starting in September, and I just haven't entered the October one in there yet. So you can reach out to me. The email address is at the end about ordering any of those. Our next meeting at the Stockyard is Tuesday, November 16th, 2021. So that's on the Stockyard meetup site now, so you can RSVP for that. We'll look at EPS season and see what sort of viable gap ups we had, if any. I'll follow up a little bit on the rally day, follow through day, and of course we'll look at the M factor and if we're still making progress. do some post analysis on some of the group teaching portfolio and look at it. And then we'll also look at recent IPOs. And I may throw in another educational topic. I just don't have that agenda together yet. So questions and contact information, 2 meetup sites are the Greenville East Side IBD meetup site that I run with IBD. That one has a lot of resources under the More tab, and then the message board, and then the Stockyard meetup site for signing up for the online meetings. You can email me if you're interested in ordering any of the prior meetings. I'll send you the whole list and ordering instructions. You can follow me on Twitter, and of course, you're on the Stockyard by Greg Morton YouTube page if you're watching this, so remember to like and subscribe. And there's other things on there, teaching on how to use the group teaching portfolio. The entire meeting from May of this year is on there, which was the I in Canslim. The 8-week hold rule, which is really an 8-week hold exception. There's a 30-minute video on that. I think that's the most misapplied concept and most misunderstood concept in Canslim. So that's it. Hope you have a great weekend routine, and we have an interesting week ahead. So we'll see how this earnings season, as well as this current rally, does. So see y'all later.